Marketing automations that make you money. I like making money. So real quick, a couple different things that we're doing that kind of automate a lot of the services, but at the same time help us increase revenue, I guess you could say. My first one is the missed call follow-up, and I know everybody's excited to be seeing flowcharts first thing in the morning, but this is a really cool thing that we do. If somebody calls, let's say somebody calls you and you're in the middle of another appointment, or you're grabbing coffee or whatever it happens to be, right? They hang up, they don't leave a message, something like that. There are systems out there that will actually text them back and say, sorry, I missed your call. And at the same time, automatically drop a voicemail on their phone saying, hey, it's Will, saw I missed your call. Let me know if I can help. Then of course, the idea is that customer either replies back to the text message or calls back and sets an appointment or whatever the next step is. There are systems out there that do this. This is an example of a missed call on October 12th for Sunshine Drapery. And this person hung up and they immediately got a text from the owner, Bruce. Hey, this is Bruce. I saw we missed a call. How can I help? So that showed up on their phone as a text message. That person replied back, hey, I'd like to make an appointment. No problem. Let me help you with that. Right? So instead of just totally missing the phone call and maybe missing that lead, there was a follow-up system in place that ultimately probably made them some money. Number two, are you still there? This is a automation that we use in our newsletter system. So basically what happens in this particular one is anytime we send out a newsletter, anybody who opens it, replies to it, anything like that is kind of stuck in this loop. So every time they open it, they get dumped right back into the top of this thing. However, if at some point they stop opening our emails, they stop replying to anything, in this case, 120 days goes by, then all of a sudden they get an email that kicks out to them that says, are you still there? And this kind of gets their attention, right? It's a little bit different of an email than our typical boring newsletter email. And of course, if they open that, if they reply, they're dumped right back into the top on another 120-day wait list, if you want to call it that. If they still don't open that one, then we can either unsubscribe them or we can start some sort of what we call a win back campaign, trying to get them back engaged with our business. And the reason this is important, and Tom Ruich could talk a lot more about this than I could, but there are things with some of these email providers where if your list is sending out stuff to a list of people that don't care, it's the deliverability goes down. And Tom, I'm sure I'm totally blowing this, but there are reasons to keep kind of a slim and trim list versus other people who just think the bigger my email list, the better. It's not always the case. And unsubscribe can be one of the best things that could happen to you. If somebody's not interested, then there's no sense in you spending more money to reach people that don't care. Here are some examples of potential subject lines. Everybody likes my subject lines. Here's an example of a couple that kind of get people's attention. And these are great. And the last one there is first name. So if you have a system that can automatically inject their first name. So quick question, Bill, quick question, Glenda, that can get their attention as well. And as soon as they open that, they're dumped right back into the top. Of course, you have to have a question to ask them, right? Which is pretty easy. Here's a reply. Some people know Charles, but he actually got this email from me a week or two ago, on the 11th. Is this your best email? Yes. Hey, Will, I'm still here. We've just slowed down, but that dumped him right back into the top of the loop, which is fantastic. Next is new lead follow-up. So there's two things that happens when somebody contacts your business. There's two things that happen. The longer it goes in time before you respond to that lead, the less likely you are to get that lead. At the same time, the more follow-up attempts there are, the higher the chance of you actually closing that business. So with those two things in mind, it's always a great idea to do something similar to the missed call, where if somebody fills something out on your site, there's a couple things that happens. If they come to your website and they fill out the contact form, they can get an immediate text message, a voicemail saying, hey, thanks for filling this out. We're going to get right back to you. Obviously, an email would be another way to do it, but not everybody checks their emails immediately. The other thing that happens here is if they're going through and looking for a plumber or an electrician or something, when you're searching, if you call a business and they don't answer the phone or they don't answer right away or something, it's likely you're going to go back to Google and look at the next one, right? And look at the next one. So having these automations in place can literally stop that search because they filled out the contact form and they got a text message, a minute later from that business. So it can stop that search, start a conversation, and hopefully get you the business. So pretty cool little automation there. Voicemail or text. And one thing I mentioned, I didn't mention email, is because not everybody's checking their email right away. But getting something back to them very quickly can stop that customer search. Lastly, send a contract or agreement upon a verbal yes. If you have an agreement, a DocuSign, a pretty boilerplate kind of contract for some of your services, what you can do is in your CRM, if you move somebody, in this case, Uday, if I move that person from booking confirmed over to services sold, then we can actually have an automatic contract sent to them. So it requires me to have a CRM with their first name, their website, their email, that kind of stuff. But you can build these things on all the different systems, such as DocuSign. And it'll just automatically put their names in those places and email that contract out to them for them to get it signed. So kind of cool, easy to do. And of course, that one's definitely going to make you some money.